Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the live stream here on the channel. Let's see what we have here today. So far, we have Sam, Caleb, Catman, Kevin. We also had Carson in here, but he left. We have Sirens. Let's see, the Storm Chaser Girl. We also have, if we go down a little further, Indiana, Luke. Glad to have you guys all in here, Proxy as well as everybody else who may be watching and not chatting. Glad to have you here. Yet again, we're going to be talking about the potential for tropical systems. I just want to do a tropical update today. We'll also go over the severe weather potential as well in the north central United States. So let's go ahead and dive right on into this. I guess I will switch to, well, I guess I'll switch to this scene right here. Not really, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options for scenes today because we don't really have much kicking off across the country. We do have a few strong to severe storms kicking off, but overall a very tame day compared to what we've had over the last couple of weeks here. We do have a slight risk for severe weather today, so we'll just get into that real quick. Get the severe weather for the next 3 days out of the way, then we'll dive into tropics, then the severe weather for the day 4 to 8 time frame towards the middle of the live stream. So currently we have storms popping off in the slight risk area out here in west central Nebraska, mostly into east central northeastern Colorado. We did have at least one tornado with these storms today, possibly even more than that. We ended up with a tornado warning on our southern storm, whilst our northern one produced a tornado. So that's quite interesting there. And you can see there's your, actually I missed that one. There's another tornado report there. So we had multiple tornadoes up here in Colorado today. If we go over to the eastern side of the U.S., this marginal risk was slightly larger. They did trim it down at the 4 o'clock update, but we still have a very large level 1 threat for severe weather today, all the way from New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, all the way south towards the Outer Banks out here in North Carolina. A very large level 1 threat in place there. Primary threat today, you'll see in the green here, is damaging winds. Every 25 miles of a given point, we have a 5% chance for 58 mile-an-hour winds or greater. The highest threat for severe weather is definitely going to be right in and around Virginia Beach, because that's where we have those storms ongoing. Specifically with this band here of clustered severe storms, that's really going to be the remainder of your marginal risk today. I don't think we'll see much else other than this band. We might have a few of these storms end up going severe, like that one in Charlotte, North Carolina, maybe one out here in the northeastern side of North Carolina. But overall, a very tame risk for severe storms today. Really, that slight risk is going to be what we're watching in Colorado. And we do have a slight up here in Montana, but it doesn't look all all that interesting at the moment. We just have a big mess of clustery storms moving up to the northeast towards Great Fall, Montana. I really don't expect that to do much of anything. Let's go ahead and get over to your Storm Prediction Center outlook here. We'll use Radar Omega like we normally do, just so that way we can see the location. So here's today's outlook. We already went over that. I'm not going to go over that again. Here's tomorrow's outlook for severe weather. We do have a marginal risk in place for a good chunk of Montana, portions of North Dakota, South Dakota, into Wyoming and Nebraska as well. Main threat tomorrow, not a tornado threat, mainly a damaging wind threat with the potential for around 60-mile-an-hour winds being possible, and a very small hail threat as well. Could see upwards of 1.5 inch size hail out there in Montana pointing to the southeast. Day 3 is where it's going to start getting a little bit more interesting. We do have a level 2 threat, slight risk for severe weather out from the Storm Prediction Center. Not really looking all that interesting in terms of significant severe weather, but we'll just we'll see what happens there. Day 3 is not the day I'm most interested in. It's going to be day 7 and day 8. That's going to be the most interesting for severe weather. Let's see here. Let me go over to Catman. I did not give you permission to hide Pez. Just because he does something on Twitter doesn't mean he can be hidden on the channel. If he does something here, he will be hidden or punished, but there's no reason for him to be punished outside of YouTube, because it's going to be different. If somebody breaks rules here on YouTube, they don't get punished on the Discord server. Let me go over to the National Hurricane Center here. So here's the National Hurricane Center. We don't have any AOIs out there in the main development region. I believe we won't see much activity over the next, it's hard to say exactly, but probably about the next 5 days, past 5 days, beyond the 24th, 25th. I expect we'll start seeing some AOIs put out there from the National Hurricane Center, but it's not going to stay this quiet for long. Definitely an underperforming season at the moment, and it is going to take one of the most favorable environments we've seen from tropical activity ever in order to catch us up to the predicted named storms at the moment. I really don't see a way how my forecast verifies, and I'm starting to lean towards the fact that we might be in a below average hurricane season for the first time in a long time. I mean, we still have September to go, of course. September pops off the most. It is the most active month by a milestone for hurricane season. But typically by now, by August 15th, we already have multiple AOIs. This time last year, I think we had 5 or 6 different AOIs throughout the main development region into the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. Here, we only have Ernesto, which is a hurricane now, moving up to the northeast, passing by Newfoundland. We could still see... yeah, I still wouldn't rule out tropical storm force wind speeds for Newfoundland. You can see it. We might barely get nicked there. So I wouldn't fully rule out tropical storm force wind speeds there. It's just going to depend on the size of Ernesto, but it won't be as impactful as it, as what Ernesto was for like Puerto Rico in the Virgin Islands. So not really looking at that big of a threat with Ernesto, even if it does, bring tropical storm force wind speeds to Newfoundland. It shouldn't be all that rough. So yeah, let's go to the Eastern Pacific, where there's a heck load of more activity. We've got tropical storm. I'm not going to try to pronounce out here. Another AOI here for a 20% chance of tropical development. Another AOI for 40% chance of tropical development, and another AOI for an 80% chance of tropical development. You can also see that from the Central Pacific tab as well. So a whole lot of activity out here in the Eastern Pacific. I think I noted that in one of my live streams. I started talking about, we're not going into that La Nina, which would probably mean we're going to see a average, if not maybe even a near above average season for the EPAC. That is chugging along really, really, really well. We're probably going to have our next named storm here within the next 2, maybe even less days than that out here in EPAC. The Eastern Pacific is definitely a whole heck of a lot more active and a whole lot more forward in the alphabet than what the Atlantic is. And I don't know if the Atlantic's ever going to catch up because it just doesn't seem like there's definitely a signal out there, but it's not a signal that's going to give us 15 named storms in the matter of a month. So let's go to our newest, we have a new model run rendering in now, but we'll go to our second newest, the 12Z GFS model run here on Tropical Tidbits. And we'll go ahead and pull this out. So we are watching a low pressure out there in the main development region. It's not in any favorable environment, so the NHC is yet to give it an AOI. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. It's really just going to be if they think it might actually develop. But at the moment, I don't see that developing. It progresses through the main development region, eventually gets to the Leeward Islands. Then we have another tropical wave that tries to spark up here. There's our other one here. We get another one here, another one, I believe at some point, I don't know if it's there, but we get another one back out here in the southeastern main development region. Yep, that's your other tropical wave right there. And then as we go towards the end of the GFS model, we even see another one develop in the Gulf of Mexico out here. So definitely a lot of areas to watch. If you're in the if you normally get impacted by hurricanes and tropical systems, you want to be watching this pattern closely. It's all going to come down to this high pressure up here and how far south it ends up moving. Because if this were the case where we had our high pressure, I know it says up here, but it looks like more of a broken high pressure where your main high is up here. You might even have a secondary high here. This would definitely favor more of a United States, tropical system heading right into the Gulf type ordeal here. So this would be, if we're looking for an above average season, at the very end of the GFS model, this is what we'd be looking for. We have our high pressure up here, steering current directly into the United States, into the Gulf of Mexico, leaving this whole area very much open for tropical business. However, it's at the end of the GFS model run. I would not trust it by any means, but that is, look at that. Later on the loop, you could see that secondary high form, just like I was saying. So this is the very end of your GFS model run. So this is the pattern you'd look for. I still don't think it's going to be good enough in order to get us 15 named storms in September. I don't think we're going to see another one to close out August. It's probably going to be more towards early September before we see our next named storm out here in the Atlantic. Who knows? Maybe we go all the way to mid-September without much activity, but I highly doubt that considering it is, hurricane season. Here's your European model. I'll go ahead and show that. This is the 12Z as well. You can see that low pressure right here. Really doesn't do much, not in the best environment, so it's just gone within a matter of frames here. And then we get another low pressure that tries to form off the main development region off of Africa here. But not a whole lot of interesting activity on the European model like we would do with the GFS. But you could definitely see that favorability pattern setting up. You could see the main high pressure here. That secondary high is trying to come in over at Bermuda. So you get your steering current just like this. That allows the Gulf open for business, and you can see that flow of tropical waves here right in the middle coming off of Africa there. So that is the pattern that we would want to see if we're looking for a very active hurricane season. But again, I just don't know if it's going to be enough. One key factor here is definitely going to be the dry air, and I haven't taken a look at that at all. I wonder if we have any dry air out there at the end of this GFS model run loop. We've had a lot more dry air and a lot more wind shear in place over Africa, like right here in our main development region, and that is actually tampered off a lot of our tropical systems. We've had a significantly lower amount of tropical systems than I believe what anyone has been anticipating out in this area for August. We did have Ernesto, but I mean, that's not, one named storm throughout the whole month of August. Cause like I said, I don't think we're going to be seeing another one. That's just not, I don't want to say it's not normal, but it's just not what we were predicting. We'll put it that way. It's not what we were predicting. It's not that common to see that. So I'm a little bit caught off guard by that. Definitely playing out a whole lot more poorly than I expected. I mean, like I said, honestly, I think a below average hurricane season may actually be on the table here, which Noah didn't even give a chance for that, but I wonder if it's actually on the table. I don't think we're that far below average, though, thanks to, what's his name? Um, Barrel. There we go. Barrel. Thanks to that one, that put us all the way, like almost halfway to an average hurricane season, thanks to the ace it generated. And I wonder if that's going to be enough just to carry our whole hurricane season into a normal, an average hurricane season. But we'll see. It's I'm really split on it. I'm really split on it if this is going to be a really favorable pattern or not in order to see all these tropical waves move just like this into the Gulf. I mean, if we're going to catch up to our name systems, I think Noah's looking at like 23-ish. I don't remember their exact number. Let's see. Like their high end. Let's see if I can find it here. 25? Is that what they're predicting? I think they're predicting up to 25. That doesn't sound correct. Yeah. Their high end is 25 named, 13 hurricane, 7 major. Yeah. That's their high end, though. So kind of average that out, and the most likely outcomes probably 20 to 21 named storms, about 9 or 10 hurricanes with 5, maybe pushing 6 major hurricanes. So we're all the way down to Ernesto. Next one is Francine, Gordon, and then we continue on the list from there. I mean, we're not even. I don't even think we're a third way through the named storms this year. We're 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just 5 storms in. The historical average, I think, I should have all this stuff memorized, but I don't. I'll have to go watch my own video to remember the historical average, but I think it's somewhere around, I'm just going to look at it. I'm just going to go look at it. Tropical storms per year. 14. I was actually going to say 12, so I would have been wrong. But normally we see about 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 majors. So we've seen 1 major, right? Pretty sure Barrel's been the only major hurricane. Yeah, because Ernesto failed because of dry air and wind shear. So I'm pretty sure it's been just Barrel for a major hurricane. So that's 1. And then, like I said, we're only 5 named storms. We've got a lot of catching up to do. Holy cow. Gracious day. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. That's going to be... We're going to probably go into a hyperactive period no matter what. That's really what it's going to take in order for us to see an average to above average season. So this is a current look at Hurricane Ernesto out there. Not doing all that healthy. We'll go to the true color. Should weaken into a tropical storm here. Probably, I don't know if they're saying it for the next advisory, but definitely tonight. I'd be very shocked if we wake up to still Hurricane Ernesto tomorrow morning. You know what? They may have it being a hurricane all the way through tomorrow morning. That's actually quite shocking. I was not expecting that one. Oh, okay, 2 a.m. So they have it weakening to a tropical storm by 2 p.m. By 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, which does sound a lot more realistic. I'd be pretty surprised, though, if it's not a tropical storm at 8 a.m. We're just seeing too much dust. We're just seeing, and we've seen way too much dust over the main development region. And a lot of dry air. Man. All right, let me go ahead and show you guys the Climate Prediction Center so we can take a look at their outlook here. Here's the CPC's outlook. This will probably update in a day or two. It's since this, week 2 says August 21st, so I expect this to update. What's today? Monday? Honestly, I would have thought it'd update today. I don't even know what today is. Is it even a Monday? It is a Monday. Okay. Yeah. So they'll probably update this they'll probably update it tomorrow. I think they're going to update this tomorrow, Tuesday, on the 20th. But at the moment, like I said, this will probably change tomorrow. We do have an area of interest for a 20 to 40% chance of tropical development out here in the main development region from the 21st to the 27th. I really don't think that's going to verify. We may see an AOI or two, but I don't think we'll actually get a tropical depression or storm out there. Now, beyond the 27th, you can see that's when their confidence becomes a bit higher. That's when I would expect a tropical system to form out here where they have that area highlighted, maybe even just a tad bit more south as well, but that's really a good outlook considering how the waves are probably going to try and curve back up. A lot of ensembles have it multiple waves moving off of Africa, moving up this way, and then going back out to sea, missing Bermuda. That's what most of our ensembles have, if they even do form any systems. So that's pretty good outlook there, and they have about a 60, little less than a 60, I just say right around the realms of a 60% chance for tropical development out there to the northeast of the U.S. Virgin Islands, west of Africa as well. And this doesn't make it to the U.S. at the moment, which I'm not too surprised of. I don't really see much of a threat to the U.S. at the moment unless we get that high pressure. So with this particular outlook, the high pressure would probably need to be generally right there. So if we get a high pressure to form that secondary high right at or just to the southeast of Bermuda, that's going to be what can funnel our systems up and into the U.S. and then back out to sea like that. So it's all going to come down to where that high pressure is in terms of our track for these systems. And in terms of if these will actually become tropical depressions or tropical storms, I'm very confident that's going to come down to the dust and dry air. It's going to all come down to dust and dry air. If we can see anything form out there, which, I mean, I guess the EPAC has had none of that because it's just not even been struggling out there. Let's see, we're 22 minutes in. Okay, let's go ahead and dive on into some ensemble models now before we hit that halfway point and I start talking about severe weather. We're going to go ahead and first take a look at our, let's do GEFS ensembles for the Northern Atlantic. Go over to this is 18Z. I want to do 12Z. So here's our 12Z GEFS. You can see a lot of different numbers. Those are all, I believe those are all low pressure numbers. Not for certain. I just really look at it as consistency though. So for this particular run, all I see is a big amount of uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty all in this whole area on exactly where a system may form. But as we go beyond 200 hours out, which, like I've said before, 180 plus hours out is really, in my opinion, considered, you might as well just barely even look at it because it's too far out. Beyond 180 hours out, you want to look at really the pattern, not the specifics. And if we go beyond 180 hours out, this is 228 hours, some things start to light up. You can see a little bit of consistency on a system, South Puerto Rico, and then a very broad region of possible AOIs out here in the far eastern main development region. But thanks to our double high pressure here, and a high pressure here, I imagine these are, let's see how many of these actually curve up in between the two and go out like this. And let's see how many of them actually curve up along like the eastern seaboard and see if any of them manage to make it in towards the Gulf. I bet we won't see probably many, if not zero, go into the Gulf. Let's see where all these ensembles take it. There goes one group almost in between the high pressures. There you go, right in between the high pressures. There goes another group in between the high pressures. We actually get some consistency on this, doing what Ernesto, kind of in between what Ernesto and Debbie did here, with the system going along the eastern coastline of the U.S. And then, wow, just at the end of the model run, very, very end. You guys can't see it, but it is exactly, you can tell here, 384 hours out. There you go, 384 hours out right at the end. We start to see that stronger signal of systems forming. And your high pressure pulls back east, which is actually a good thing because that's going to lead these systems to go up and then around like this. So it's all going to come down to where that high pressure ends up being. If the high pressure is way back up here, then that's going to curve systems up and around it and probably out to sea. Maybe they'll form, maybe they won't. That's just going to be pending on dust and probably wind shear as well. But if we go back in the model run, you see this other secondary high pressure that forms. If we can get this one to become the main high pressure and this one to kind of break apart here, then what that would lead for, if we have a high pressure here, it's going to just, all these waves will go straight like this until they get picked up by that high pressure, and it may or may not curve them into the U.S. or back on out to sea. It'd kind of be a 50-50 on that, depending on if the high pressure is more to the west or more to the east. So it's all going to come down to that high pressure for sure in terms of exactly where these systems may go. But the general pattern here is this area, very confident in a tropical system forming eventually, most likely very late into August, also into early September as well. We shall see what the European has here. 12Z European. No signals right now. It has no yellow. You see no green, no orange out here. There's pretty good agreement on a low pressure system forming, but it really doesn't get going. You can see it trying. You can see it trying right at my cursor. It tries, but it doesn't succeed. And then we really start to light up here towards the tail end of the loop again. You can see all these ensemble plots moving off of Africa, and that's going to be what probably attempts to kick up our active hurricane season. And also look at the tail end of this loop as well. You see a lot more ensembles light up all over the place here. All over the place, we see batches of tropical systems light up. That would be a hyperactive pattern right there. But again, most of this, with the exception of probably these down here, most of this would just be going out to sea like this, up and around, out to sea. These would kind of be 50-50, but probably far up and around and back out to sea. So that still looks like a favorability pattern for fish storms. And, you know, even with fish storms, you could still get something like Ernesto did, where it moves in like this, moves up the north, impacts Bermuda, and then books it out to sea like that. Matter of fact, what's our current high pressure look like? Yeah, so our high pressure that steered Ernesto here. You can see our high pressure here. So what it did was it pulled off that tropical wave, pulled it into the Lesser Antilles, Leeward Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, into Puerto Rico, up and around into Bermuda, and then up here, and it's going to eventually go out to sea like this. So, yeah, even a high pressure that far east still influenced Ernesto to curve right around it, just like this. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And then this is your current look. We have, like I've said, tropical wave here, tropical wave here. We also have Ernesto there, high pressure here. So Ernesto's definitely getting pulled quickly. I imagine this system's moving very fast, considering how close it is to that that high pressure, rather. Let's see how fast it's moving. 26 miles per hour. Yeah. Yeah, that's no shocker there. I'm surprised it's not even moving quicker than that, because that high pressure has a hold on it and a half. So that system's going to be hauling to the northeast now. You can see how much steam it picks up. Look at how it looks like partially slow, and then right as it gets south of Nova Scotia, southwest of Newfoundland, where it is pretty much now, that's where it starts to really pick up steam and get out of here. Just kind of pulling this forward a little bit more. I really don't see I don't see a lot of that double low action on the European model here. Maybe in the middle of it, maybe in the middle of the European model, it has a low high pressure here. I keep calling them lows. Has a high pressure here, and then maybe a second high pressure over Bermuda. That would still see, that's just tricky because it depends on how strong these high pressures are. If this one's stronger, your tropical systems are just going to go like this. Whereas if they're like the same intensity, it's probably going to be more like this. So a whole heck of a lot to work out for uncertainties there in terms of high pressures. I didn't even realize, geez. Who in the world allowed the 12Z to go that far? I never hold on, is that the same on Weather Nerds? Weather Nerds. Wow. So the European model actually goes out further on tropical tidbits. That is definitely something I'm gonna have to note for sure. I will forget it today. I will forget about it after I end this live stream. But that's very, very interesting. Because the European model ensembles on Weather Nerds, that goes out 240 hours, whereas the one on Tropical Tidbits goes out 360 hours. Which is a very massive difference when it comes to looking at your overall patterns and tropical systems. So if we don't have AOIs by the beginning of September, I might just go ahead and make a new hurricane forecast. Because, I mean, gracious day. If we don't have AOIs by the end of August, early September, that's going to be wild. I would be shocked. I would be blown away. So a lot of ensembles lining up towards the end of the loop here, and I wonder how much of that's going to disappear. You know what? Let's do a quick comparison, really quick. Let's go all the way back to August 12th's model run. There's Ernesto. That's Ernesto. There you go. And I want to see if the European had anything like now. August 26th, August 27th. It had a little signal. It had a decent signal here. Not really good for August 27th. And then if we look at the newer ensemble, yeah, you can see how much that downtraded. And I'm wondering if that's exactly what's going to happen. By the time we go towards like actually getting to August 29th or so, if all those ensembles are just going to completely be gone. So that's something to think of as well. So yeah, that's your tropical update. Main takeaway again is we're just going to have to watch very closely on where this high pressure sets up. Keep an eye on where that high pressure sets up, and just wait. Just wait. I mean, that's really what weather is just a waiting game. But my goodness, this hurricane season, it feels like every single time we enter a favorable pattern, we just don't see any solid waves come off of Africa. And then when we do see waves come off of Africa, well, if I go ahead and show you the satellite imagery, Atlantic, wide, water vapor, we get all of this, gracious day, all of this dry air infiltration. That is a lot of dry air. I don't like this one the best here. That is a lot of stinking dry air. Look at all that. Look at all that. It's a lot better on, I forgot what site to use here. But regardless, like I said, it just seems like every time we get a solid tropical wave, it ends up, we end up having a bunch of dry air. That's a lot of dry air. So most of your dry air is right out in a good chunk of your main development region. You definitely have some more favorable conditions out here, but I mean those waves are going to move into all that dry air and then boom, done. All right, I do want to take a look at infrared. Yeah, so you do have one, maybe two tropical waves out here. I'm going to go look at the National Hurricane Center analysis really quick. Wherever I put that. Okay. I'm glad I clicked the right link because that just appeared right up in y'all's face. Let's see. Is this the correct plot, though? August 19th, yeah. So they do have a monsoon trough out here. And then a tropical wave, tropical wave, tropical wave. They have 3 different tropical waves out here. And then, of course, you have Ernesto there. So still a good amount of tropical waves, but we have all this dust that's just murdering it. I like the RGB better. Oh, you know what? I just remembered. Duh. I think I know what side it is. I don't think it's this one, but I just want to check real quick. Actually, it might be this one. This might be the much better water vapor, y'all. Let's go to this one. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You want to see how much dry air there actually is out there? Here's a bit of a better view for you. Just a little bit of dry air. Look at all of that. There you go. So that's why we're really not able to see any tropical systems spark up. And yeah, those tropical waves that are outlined from the NHC, they're like, what was it, like here, here, and here. This one doesn't look too bad, and then your monsoon trough over here doesn't look that bad either. But that's your main reason why things aren't forming. And I wonder if I could do a let's do a very ridiculously long loop here. I wish I could go back a little bit further. Yeah, see the dry air that got into Ernesto there? Look at that. Watch the dry air wrap right into the core of Ernesto, and that just murdered it. Absolutely murdered it. And then you can see it starts to recover there, really getting to recover. And now, just actually, this was earlier this morning. It probably almost looked the best it's ever looked before. It looked really, really good this morning, right around 10Z, 8 to 10Z. This is not unusual. Late August is when the season will be alive. Mid-August is normally when it starts to pop off. It is, I personally think it is a little bit on the unusual side that we don't have, like, any AOIs out there. We do have Ernesto, of course, Hurricane Ernesto. This time last year, we had, like, six AOIs in the main development region. And I do feel like this is slightly unusual. I do feel like it's slightly unusual. We're starting to run behind on our tropical or our hurricane season. But I wouldn't be too hopeful that we're not going to see another tropical system here. We're going to see another tropical wave, and it's just going to be a matter of time before one of those eventually become a tropical storm again. I'm trying to fix up my loop here. So, really want to wait until early September. That should be where it pops off. That's also climatology-wise as well. But I mean, it's going to be interesting because in order for us to just get to like an average hurricane season, we have to have like near 10 named storms. So we are running, actually, I think it's more. I think we need 12 named storms. So we are running really, really far behind here. But the most active period's always September, climatology wise. Uh, See if I can get the chart for you guys. Just to show you, it's not completely unusual here. You guys see that? Yes, you can. So we are, what, August 19th? So we're like here-ish. So we've already taken that big jump in early August. And then this little period here is what actually gave us Ernesto. And I mean, we're rapidly gonna keep on climbing until we get to September, and then September 10th is where it starts to peak. And then we'll eventually start to fall down in mid-September, and then early October, hurricane season is going to be rapidly plummeting down until eventually it ends in November. So this is when your main spike is right here, which that runs from, if we go down about mid-August, like I said, about August 15th. That's when your main spike starts. And then that spike ends, we'll say, kind of in between like October 3rd-ish and October 15th-ish is when that ends. So we shall see. Oops. Oh, it's 14, isn't it, PM? Okay, yeah, then we're not running behind. You're right. For some reason, I thought it was 17 again. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like, it, but I suppose we are on track. For Ace, I do believe we're ahead of schedule for Ace, thanks to Barrel. And you said we're ahead of schedule for Hurricanes? I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I think we're right on average. But we should climb very, very rapidly here. We already had that one massive spike, and we're going to continue with that massive spike all the way till September 10th, and then again we'll do that big downfall here. But we should start to see a lot more AOIs in the Atlantic as we go through, probably right here, like August 25th to August 30th or so. We should see a couple AOIs out there. And then we'll see how long that carries. But I mean, I imagine we're going to be in a very active pattern from the start of it, which looks to be August, somewhere after the 25th, all the way till probably early October. I imagine we're going to have consistent AOIs, consistent things to keep an eye on, and probably multiple tropical systems in the main development region at once. I'm expected above average season with well above average land impacts. I mean, think about it, PM. With the land impacts, you're dead right. I mean, I don't think we've had a fish storm. All of our storms have impacted land. All of them have been quite notable. There hasn't been like a forgettable tropical storm or forgettable system. The only reason why I think only thing is Chris. I think Chris is what the name of it was. The only reason why that's forgettable is because it happened as the same time as I think Barrel. So that one was only forgettable because we were, tracking a historic system. Yeah, see, Chris wasn't the only reason why Chris was, not memorable to most people is because it happened in, when we were tracking a historic system. But Chris definitely had its impacts. It definitely was a very impactful tropical storm. Just simply was very much overshadowed by Beryl. So yeah, don't call this season a bust just yet. In order for you to call this season a bust, we're gonna have to go all the way to this point here, the end of hurricane season, without another tropical system. You really think that's gonna happen? You really think we're gonna go from here, where we are now, through all of this without another tropical system? And even if that does happen, some miracle way, we don't see another tropical system, another tropical storm, I should say, form. Beryl was a ridiculously historic system, generating a ridiculous amount of ACE. We also had Debbie. Debbie was very much impactful to the U.S. as well, brought very catastrophic flooding. And then we also had, of course, Beryl hit Texas, spawned that tornado outbreak. Ernesto was catastrophic flooding for Puerto Rico. Chris was notable for Mexico and what was it, Alberto? That one. um, I don't really know if that one was notable, but I do remember that it was quite a large system. It was very large. Like the wind field on that was like 200 some miles wide. Um, I mean, August was only impactful because of Ernesto. That's really the only reason. I don't think we're going to see much for the next, you know, 10, 11 days left of August. I don't think we'll see much. Maybe we'll see AOIs, but I don't think we'll see another tropical system in August. So we'll probably round out with just one hurricane this month, if I recall correctly. Did Debbie? When did Debbie die? Did Debbie die like before August started, or I forgot? It died on. Oh, it formed on August 3rd. Why did I think Debbie was in July? It formed on August 3rd and it died on the 14th. Why did I think it was a July system? Wow. Yeah, so never mind. Yeah, but Debbie was definitely Debbie and Ernesto. That's two quite impactful systems. We had around $2 billion worth of damage from Debbie, and then I imagine we're gonna have probably around a billion. I have no idea from Ernesto. Just considering the impacts it had on Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and what this island is at my cursor here. That one was also really impacted. So yeah, definitely felt like a slow August, but it was an impactful one. Just like you said, PM. I agree. Two systems, but two impactful systems. And I don't know what September's going to bring, but I have a feeling it's going to be a mixture of both, where we're going to have a lot of systems go out to sea, and then we're going to have, two or three very much impactful landfalling ones. On the models right now, it looks like the pattern's favoring a more out to sea pattern, but that is far out, so it could quickly change. Most, the European and the uh, GEFS, those ensembles, most of them have a high pressure here. Some have that secondary high pressure near Bermuda, but the majority have it on that east side, north of the main development region, which would get these systems to go just up and around like this. A little bit more north of what Ernesto is currently doing. Or Ernesto went more like this. It took that sharp wobbly turn over here. So yeah, this obviously this is going to be the area. This is going to be the area we got to pay attention to the most for very late August. I should just say the remainder of August, as well as into early September. And once we get to late August, we'll figure out what we have to pay attention to for mid-September. But I imagine mid-September, this is going to shift more off to the west for areas of interest. It's going to push a little bit more off. I don't know why I just forgot how to draw an arrow. It's going to go more this way. It's going to go more this way. So for September, it looks like most of our systems, or for late August into early September, most of our systems are going to favor a pattern more like this. But also a lot of ensembles are showing systems that could easily go something more like that. We have some that even spark up a system in the Southwest Gulf. Even some over here off of South America. So there's still multiple different scenarios we can have here, and those models and ensembles are like what 360 to 380 hours out. That's just way too far out to set anything in stone. It's gonna change a lot, and that's what we gotta pay attention to. That high pressure is really gonna be the key factor. Let's see what these storms are doing up here. I haven't even looked at the severe weather here. Man, we're running out of time. I don't think I even talked about the severe weather side of thing. Well, shoot, we're going to try to make this quick. So the Storm Prediction Center, as well as weather enthusiasts, we're all watching a trough ejection here that's going to be moving through from around Friday all the way through the early and middle portion of next week. In terms of impacts with this upcoming system, it's very much uncertain, but I do want to just go ahead and show you guys it really fast. Does this go out far enough? It indeed barely does. So this is our next system we are watching for severe weather. This is your GEF ensembles, 500 millibar mean wind speeds. Very, 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 very large, strong, high pressure there over the southwestern, or actually I should say the south central tier of the country. Large and negatively tilted, and we always know whenever you hear negatively tilted, it always means, oh, we got issues. And that pushes through the northern half of the country. But look at that. The Rocky Mountains decide to break it down for us and almost kill pretty much all of its potential there. And this is your GFS model run, which actually keeps it a whole wow. Yeah, this is the 12Z. This is the 18Z. One shows a sloppy trough and one shows a big negatively tilted trough. So generally we're going to be watching up in this area for significant severe weather to occur in the United States between most likely Sunday and Monday. And it shouldn't be a multi-day severe threat. If it is, it's going to be, just Sunday and Monday up for the northern side of the country because this system really gets out of here. So we're going to favor more of that MCS potential again. But it's going to be an interesting one. We'll see. It's going to be something we need to keep an eye on. So if you're up in this area, just keep an eye on the severe weather side of things. That's probably going to be what our next stream will be talking about. And yeah, it's quickly turning into what people like to call megatroph season. We're going to really quickly go into megatroph season. I think the CFS model already had a megatroph on one of its ridiculous 700 some frames out model runs. So second season is going to approach eventually. We're going to be in more of a lull of severe weather activity. We've been in that for a while, where it's just these more smaller scale severe weather systems. And we should stay in that all the way until probably sometime in who knows when. Who knows when. But typically October. Late September, most of October. Yeah, at the end of the CFS model run, it has one mega trough coming through, but it's positively tilted, which would result in probably minimal severe weather. So, yeah, just wanted to quickly go over that severe weather. That was very fast. We will probably be focusing on that in our next live stream, whenever that may be. Could be, what's today? Monday, Tuesday. I think we'll plan for a live stream Wednesday. Nah, we'll just do one tomorrow. We'll just do a stream tomorrow. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Just a quick 1 hour briefing today. I don't want to stay on here too much longer because, yeah, I got some stuff I need to do. And I'll just be right back here tomorrow. I was thinking about taking a 1 day break, but I'm good enough. We'll do a stream tomorrow and probably continue streams for a little while longer. It'll kind of be 50-50, honestly. We'll just see. How about that? Instead of me making promises here, I'm going to do a stream tomorrow, but after that, we'll just see. Maybe, depending on what that severe weather event does on day 3, but we'll just see. Tomorrow I'll be live sometime, probably around the same time I started. We'll just aim for same time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully that continues to work for everybody. I know school is starting back for a lot of people. Most people have already started school. If you haven't, you're probably one of them lucky ones who go back right around the 26th. But I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And share this channel with your family, friends, social media. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. I will be back here tomorrow for another live stream talking about probably severe weather potential on Wednesday, as well as the severe weather later on down the line. So that is going to be it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next one. I got to pull up my outro music. Didn't even have that up. Thank you, mods, for mod and chat. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Have a great rest of your night. Stay safe, watch severe weather in the tropics. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch severe weather in the tropics. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Have a great rest of your night. Goodbye.